Warning. Any advice or opinion given in this video should not be taken seriously. We are not medical professionals, and we highly recommend you take the unfactual, ridiculous advice of the expert overlords on TV. Coming up on tonight's episode, we're going to take a look at Patriots in Oregon storming the Capitol building, and the police not being so friendly to those Patriots who backed them. Andrew Cuomo is banned from 100 plus New York restaurants for life. There's some weird numbers going on in the new stimulus package that just came out. We're going to take a look at those, and we're going to wrap up with taking a look at the 1918 version of Dr. Fauci and what happened during the Spanish flu. And then, of course, we'll wrap everything up in a nice, pretty bow with our tweets of the day. Let's get it.
They're saturating people with bear mace. They got them over there completely sprayed.
Don't look nice, it makes it worse.
Listen, officer, what are you gonna do?
Oh, people sprayed them. People.
You are traitors. You are traitors to the Constitution.
It's just, yeah, I know.
You are violating your oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States.
People are going to get in. They're spraying the state. They're in. People are in. The doors are open. The doors are open.
They breached it, come on, guys!
Hey, get up here, stop standing on the sidelines. This is why they continue to do what they do. Because we keep standing back here and watching everybody else stand for our freedom. Get up here and stand for your freedoms with us. I'm not asking you to engage in criminal activity. I'm asking you to stand with us. Our kids are hurting. It's enough standing around.
Let's go.
If you're in the back, come up here and fight.
I'll die for my freedom. I'm ready. I don't fucking care anymore.
The doors are open. The police went inside.
I know they are. They just need to be. I don't give a shit.
Nice going both ways.
And he said we shouldn't do it. We should just receive it.
People, this is fucking Germany, 1939. It is time we realize it. We will lose everything if we don't stand for it.
This is where we make our stand right fucking now. Make our stand right now. This is why we're allowed to get away with this shit.
Cover your mouth when you walk through that door. What are we waiting? Hey, we're going to be peaceful. We have a right.
There's mace right now, so it's hard.
Got me right in the fucking mouth.
They just sprayed everything, so there's bear mace all out here. So people are trying to.
Yes, it's fucking awesome. That's a huge win, even though we're all happy to death. It's fucking worth it. It's so worth it. Our building. I can't find her.
Another door on the other side. That's where they're going to exit and enter from. On the other side.
What's going on, everybody? How are you? Welcome back to the Swamp News Network. I am your host, Ian Ovens. It is December 21st, 2020, and we have got a lot to cover today, guys. So that video there showed peaceful protesters. Now, it may have seemed in that video that they weren't being peaceful, but when you look at the left and you compare what Antifa, Black Lives Matter was doing when they were protesting peacefully, that was peaceful. And where were the police with their pepper spray and their all that stuff defending buildings when Antifa, Black Lives Matter was straight up burning places down? Where were the police to defend these buildings? Nowhere to be found. Now that the right wants to come out and say, hey, we're not taking this anymore. We're done with the lockdowns. We're done. We know what you guys are up to. We see we're coming and we're over it and we're done and we're standing up and we're they own that building. Those people there who pay taxes in Oregon, they own that building. So for the police to stand and say that you can't enter a building that you own, that you pay tax dollars for, but didn't defend any of the buildings that the Black Lives Matter and Antifa did not own, but still burnt down and the police allowed them to do it, I mean, guys, it's just crazy. This is an ongoing story right now, this thing in Oregon. We'll see where it goes. I will update you guys on it, but we got to move on. Cuomo, guys, Cuomo was banned for life from 100 plus New York City restaurants. The Democrat backlash has begun. Check this out.
Guys, straight from the post-millennial. New York restaurants ban Governor Cuomo. Yes. He can eat at some shitty roadside diner outside of Albany. Struggling restaurants in New York City have banded together to enact a ban against New York Governor Andrew Cuomo from dining at their premises following his coof lockdown measures in the city. He can eat at some shitty roadside diner outside of Albany, but he will not be served anywhere in New York City, known universally as the world's greatest dining destination. If he has to use the restroom, he can go pee on my street corner, said bar owner Larry Baird, reported the Coney Island blog. Numerous members of the Facebook group NYC Restaurants Open, which is mainly made up of restaurants and bar owners, have come out in support of a lifetime order banning Cuomo from being served at all New York City's establishments. Completely schizophrenic behavior. How they're coming up with these rules is beyond any logical reasoning, said one group member according to the blog. Struggling restaurateurs have been forced to provide outdoor dining in the middle of winter after Cuomo shut down indoor dining in New York City on December 14th, a significant reversal of the city's reopening.
And in addition to their espionage activities, the Chinese Communist Party invests billions into spreading propaganda, even using American media outlets, telecommunication infrastructure, movies, and sports teams to spread their propaganda, from buying media outlets so that they broadcast propaganda into America, to coercing Hollywood studios and sports leagues to self-censor by threatening to cut off access to one of the world's largest markets. The Chinese Communist Party spends billions and billions of dollars to mislead Americans about China and to try to shape what we see, what we hear, and think. All of these activities are part of China's whole-of-state approach to amass influence around the world through information warfare. And we need to stand together to stop it. That's why I will be momentarily asking for unanimous consent on the Script Act, which would cut off Hollywood studios from the assistance they currently receive from the U.S. federal government if those studios allow the Chinese Communist government to censor what they're producing. We've seen this pattern over and over and over again, Hollywood being complicit in China's censorship and propaganda in the name of bigger profits. Bohemian Rhapsody, wonderful biopic of Freddie Mercury, story of the band Queen. Well, the Chinese government was upset that Freddie Mercury was homosexual and demanded that Hollywood censor out scenes that showed that Freddie Mercury was homosexual. And Hollywood, those great woke social warriors that they are, compliantly said, we're more interested in the money than in artistic integrity, than in telling Freddie Mercury's story, so the Chinese government will happily edit out those scenes.
Yeah, so that's crazy there, guys. I'm not the hugest fan of Ted Cruz. I'm not, like, in love with the guy. I don't really know why. I just don't get a good vibe from him, and I agree with him and I disagree with him, because here he's talking about China and how, you know, and China's the biggest threat right now to, other than Israel. China is the biggest threat. Israel is the largest threat to us, in my opinion. But other than Israel, China is the second largest threat. But we also are a threat to ourselves. We literally shut our minds off and allow the mainstream media, Hollywood, the actors, the influencers, the famous people, we sell ourselves out to fame. The United States of America, a lot of us just see the dollar and we can't see past it. We get a little bit of taste of that money, and after that it's like an addiction. You know, you want to make more and more and more and more, and then before you know it, you're rich, you're famous, and you sold your soul. So I thought that was important that he's putting a bill in. I'm going to look into it a little bit more to see what the bill really, I'm going to dig into it and see what it's about, because it's probably just a photo op for Ted Cruz, getting some credibility, but we'll see. All right, guys, so the next 3 documents, actually five documents I'm about to show you, are going to explain where $2.5 billion is going from the stimulus package. $2.5 billion, and you're not going to like it. Check these out. All right, so here's the first one, guys, and it's 3 different pages from the stimulus bill, but there's a text on top that I went through the pages and broke it down. So we're giving through the stimulus bill $700 million to Sudan, another $1.3 billion to foreign military in Egypt, and $453 million to Ukraine. Can anybody explain why that would be something that would be tucked away in our stimulus bill? All right, and then this one here, guys, says $90 million for initiatives to improve police community relations, of which $35 million is for a competitive marketing grant programs of body-worn cameras for state, local, and tribal law enforcement. Then they're giving $33 million for Justice Reinvestment Initiative, and then another $22 million for an Edward Byrne Memorial Criminal Justice Innovation Program. All right, guys, so then this one's going to give $15,394,000 for Office of Hearings and Appeals for necessary expenses. Then we've got $9,629,000 for budget and program analysis. Then we've got $66 million for Chief Information Officer, $56 million for cybersecurity requirements of the department, $6 million for Chief Financial Officer, and that looks like it's about it. But still, I mean, there's some big numbers, guys. Now, the part that pisses me off most about the $600 checks going out to Americans is that Nancy Pelosi stood up there in her stupid green dress worth $100 million and stating that $600 was good enough. That we should be happy for it. And we are. What we're pissed about is that it took you 5 months to send us $600. We're grateful, but you're a slimy snake. So guys, I added that all up to be about $2.4 billion. And I know when we're talking about a $900 billion stimulus check, and then I saw something about another $1.4 trillion. And when I saw that, I added them together, and I'm like, okay, 1.4 trillion, that's 2.2 trillion, because 1.4, oh wait, no, 1.4, it's like 2.3. I'm like, so we're right at where the Democrats wanted to be anyway, so what did we just spend 5 months doing? And we already know they spent 5 months, making the American people suffer, and closing down their businesses, taking away their ability to make money, but then not sending any money out to them as they promised. And that's okay. We're not victims here. We made it. We're here now. We survived. We're survivors, the patriots of this country. But we got to get into the last story we have for you guys tonight. And that is about the Spanish flu. So, take a look at this article. So this is the guy, the writer of the article, Alex Knapp, and he's part of the Forbes staff. He writes about future of science, technology, and culture. And he states that more than a century ago, epidemiologist Dr. Thomas Tuttle prescribed face masks and social distancing to slow the influenza pandemic. He made a lot of enemies, but it worked. All right, guys, so I want to read you the rest of this article here. So it says, in January 1919, Washington's health commissioner urged legislators in the state capital, Olympia, to enforce strict measures against the spread of the Spanish flu, which had just ended a deadly second wave in America. Recommended restrictions included banning dances and other social gatherings, as well as limits on how many people could attend public meetings and how far apart they should sit from one another. Both the city and county voted against those measures. In response, the commissioner sought to get the State Board of Health to enforce its police powers against the county. Instead, he lost his job. A public health official getting fired over unpopular social distancing measures during a pandemic has an eerie echo today, when business leaders and politicians are chafing against restrictions urged by authorities to contain the COVID-19 pandemic, but it was precisely these restrictions that enabled Seattle and other cities in Washington to protect themselves from the Spanish flu. And similar actions helped Kansas abate another influenza wave in the fall of 1919. At the center of public health efforts in both states was a practical, plain-spoken, bespectacled scientist, Dr. Thomas Dyer Tuttle, who became a powerful, if polarizing, figure in the fight against the Spanish flu. Not unlike Dr. Anthony Fauci is today in the battle against COVID-19. Apart from passing physical resemblance, both Dr. Tuttle and Dr. Fauci fought global pandemics late in their long public health careers. And the perilous balance of science and sociology that entails, both men attended Ivy League medical schools. Imagine that. Both were commissioned officers in the United States Public Health Service, and both had experience fighting previous epidemics. Fauci first came to prominence in the 1980s as the leading HIV/AIDS researcher for Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush. For Tuttle, Fauci became, and I want to read this again anyway. Fauci became the leading HIV/AIDS researcher for Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush in the late 1980s. For Tuttle, it was a resurgence of smallpox at the turn of the 20th century. Tuttle was born in Fulton, Missouri. All right, so we're going to get into his history there. But, guys, back then, it was masks and social distancing and lockdowns and stuff that killed people. The unmasked were burying the masked. That's just a little food for thought on your way out. But let's check out our tweets of the day, guys. Let's get it.
Did you get to pick his Band-Aid? Oh, I've got a Band-Aid.
Oh, you've been awful busy, haven't you, son?
Oh, we have been,
God love you. We owe you big.
I know.
Whole staff. It's been incredible.
Everybody stepped up and is doing what they need to do, so that's good.
All right.
She's from Cameroon.
Thank you.
You want me to hold your hand?
Guess you need everybody watching, huh?
I know, but that's okay. That's it. Here comes nothing. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Got it up higher? All right.
Would you like me to come to
No, no, you just go ahead anytime you're ready.
Mr. Biden, do you expect that teachers will have early access to the vaccine? And if so, do you think that moves the timetable to get students back to class?
If you, it doesn't matter. If you think I need one, I'll put it on. Okay.
Oh man, that old Biden and the VA double X. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. I think it was full of lots of important information. I hope you will tune in tomorrow. I enjoyed spending time with you here today. Make sure you head over to Discord, check out the American Pride Reinforcement Party. Make sure you head over and check out our main channel, Swamp News Network. This is the backup channel. Make sure you go over to BitChute And also subscribe over there, guys, because if they do wipe us out, we're going to have to only upload over there. So you can do all that right below, right in the description. And also, please like this. Please smash the like button if you have not yet done so. Please share with your friends. Please subscribe to this channel. And I love everybody. I salute you. I thank you for tuning in. And I will check you guys out tomorrow. Peace out, everybody.